Well, today, a couple of Republican senators are demanding answers on why the guy behind the fake Trump Russia dossier was on the FBI payroll. This guy's name is Igor Danchenko. He is a Russian national who was based in the United States. He was funneling fake information to Christopher Steele to write up that fake Steele dossier that was then leaked to the media, funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016, and used to fuel big-time opposition news against Trump. Accusations against Trump in this dossier are so freaking outrageous that it's hard to believe, but the media ran all over this. It turned out to be completely bogus. And now any updates on this case, the media stays really quiet about it because they're kind of embarrassed that their credibility just tanked by carrying on this fake Russia dossier story for the longest time. So let's get you guys up to date on the latest here. Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson are demanding more information on why that man from Russia, Igor Danchenko, who is accused of making up ridiculous stories, was actually paid by the FBI for years with tax dollars. FBI was paying him as he was making up bogus stories for a dossier that was funded by Hillary Clinton. Why was the FBI, was the FBI involved in Hillary's campaign, or what's going on? We're going to jump all the way into it. Before we do, shout out to the sponsor of my coverage, which is My Patriot Supply. I actually want to show you guys, I've linked them down in my description. But this is their website. You can actually see some of the food. It's $50 off a 1-month emergency food supply and a full 20% off a 3-month emergency food supply. So check out tons of food, 2,000 calories a day for 3 months. Definitely a good thing to have on hand right now. I'll actually show you. This, you get 2 of these for 1 month if you order. So hit my link. It'll lock in the discount. Preparewithivory.com. Preparewithivory.com, guys. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to actually show you guys the John Durham court filings. That was the bombshell that revealed this Russian man was being paid for nearly 3 years by the FBI. But let's look at the Fox News headline on this. Grassley and Johnson demand answers on why FBI paid Igor Danchenko as a source during the Trump-Russia probe. Grassley and Johnson say that the FBI paid him despite the extensive derogatory information attached to him. That is John Durham leading the investigation on the Trump-Russia hoax right now. Republican senators are demanding answers on why the Russian national who served as the subsource of the debunked anti-Trump dossier was hired by the FBI as a confidential human source and paid with U.S. tax dollars throughout the Bureau's original investigation to whether the Trump campaign colluded with Russia to influence the 2016 presidential election. The court filing, United States versus Igor Danchenko. This is the actual Durham court filing. John Durham filed this earlier this month. The government's motion, United States of America, by and through its attorney, special counsel John Durham, respectfully moved for the admission and exclusion of certain evidence at trial. Okay, factual background. The defendant is charged in 5 counts, a 5-count indictment with making materially false statements to an FBI official in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1001. As set forth in the indictment, on July 31st of 2016, months before Trump was first elected, the FBI opened an investigation known as Crossfire Hurricane into whether individuals associated with Donald J. Trump presidential campaign were coordinating activities with the Russian government beginning in about July 2016 and continuing through December 2016. FBI began receiving a series of reports from former British government employee Christopher Steele and his firm Orbis Business Solutions that contained derogatory information on then-candidate President Donald Trump concerning Trump's purported ties to Russia, the Steele reports. Earlier that year, Perkins Coie, a U.S.-based international law firm, acting as counsel to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, had retained Fusion GPS, a US-based investigative firm, to conduct research on Trump and his associates. In or about June 2016, Fusion GPS in turn retained Steele and Orbis to investigate Trump's purported ties to Russia. The Steele reports played an important role in applications that FBI personnel prepared and submitted to obtain warrants pursuant to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, targeting Carter Page, a United States citizen who for a period of time had been an advisor to then candidate Trump. Christopher Steele, it goes on to talk about how Igor Danchenko was feeding information. Again, he's a Russian national based in America, feeding information to Christopher Steele, and Christopher Steele is getting paid by Hillary Clinton to conduct this research, and then Christopher Steele is sending that information to the FBI. FBI uses these fake, ridiculous stories to then get a FISA warrant, a federal warrant, to surveil the cell phone and internet activity of one of Trump's advisors. Therefore, the FBI was spying on Trump as he was running for office. This is how dirty the Hillary Clinton campaign plays. Now, it ended up being completely bogus. The famous story that Trump is accused of participating in was that he, back in 2013, went to a Ritz-Carlton hotel in Moscow and hired a bunch of Russian prostitutes to pee on the bed where Barack and Michelle stayed when they were out there during Barack's presidency. Fueled Trump. The fake story goes that Trump was so fueled by hate against Obama that he made sure to get the exact same hotel room that Obama had and make sure Russian prostitutes peed on it, and then filmed it, and that the Russian government obtained this video and used it as blackmail against Trump to control Trump. And then the fake news media put out that the reason that this tape of the golden showers was never released was that Trump always complied with Putin and the Russians. The Russians used this tape to control Trump because if he didn't do the Russians' bidding, they would release the tape. That's the fake story. It's pretty ridiculous. Now, my best friend is Russian originally. She's American now, married to a friend of mine. And I told her this story. She hadn't heard it, and she laughed and thought it was the most insane thing. And it's a pretty out there story. It ended up being completely fake, but the media ran with it for a very long time. Now we are learning that the primary source of that information, this little guy, Igor Danchenko, who's on the thumbnail of this video, was just making stuff up. Not only that, but he had coordinated with the Russian government back in 2009 to 2011 to help try to provide classified information in America to the Russians. The FBI had previously investigated him for they did a counterintelligence investigation against Igor Danchenko back 2009, 2011, accused of coordinating with the Russian government against the U.S. to leak classified information to Russia. So why would the FBI then turn and say, you know what, we want to pay you as our own confidential informant? And what does that mean for our national security that we would keep one of these guys who's obviously on Russia's side that close to us? Here's the letter from Senators Grassley and Johnson of Iowa and Wisconsin writing to the Attorney General Merrick Garland of the DOJ and then the FBI's Director Christopher Wray, demanding more answers. They said that this extraordinary fact pattern requires additional information from the Department of Justice and the FBI related to why Danchenko was placed on the payroll and paid by the taxpayers to assist the federal government's flawed investigation of President Trump. That is part of what they wrote. They're just trying to figure out why would the FBI, knowing the sketchy background of this guy, pay him for nearly 3 years as he just fed them BS. It says here that Grassley and Johnson are seeking all FBI and Justice Department records related to government payments to Danchenko, the counterintelligence concerns he posed, and the FBI's decision to rely on him. That's a release from Chuck Grassley as he demands answers. Now, in addition, the Durham filing goes on to talk, it shows some transcripts of federal communications with Danchenko asking if he knew certain key figures, and he's saying, yeah, I've talked with this guy, and apparently he's never talked to the people that he said he's talked to. He's just making stuff up. He has incentive to make stuff up. The more juicy intel he makes up, the more the FBI pays him. Is that how it works? So I want to show you this one more page from the John Durham bombshell filing that revealed that he was actually paid by the FBI from March 2017 through October of 2020. It says in this Durham filing, the government moves to admit certain evidence and statements, including the defendant's uncharged false statements to the FBI regarding his purported receipt of information reflecting Donald Trump's alleged salacious sexual activity at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Moscow. The defendant's uncharged false statements to the FBI reflecting the fact that he never informed friends, associates, and or sources that he worked for Orbis or Christopher Steele, and that, quote, you, the FBI, are the first people he's told. And number three, the defendant's February 24th, 2016 email to former employer Kenk Sidar, in which the defendant advised Sidar, when necessary, to fabricate sources of information. Yeah, Igor Danchenko has been uncovered to be telling other people, oh, hey, if they double check things with you, just make up this story. Just go along with this fake story for me, okay? That way he can keep getting paid by the feds. So we got a couple senators demanding answer. It's just really interesting that the mainstream media is staying so quiet about these new updates. The mainstream media not covering this. Here's an old article from 2021. Christopher Steele defends Russia dossier, says that Trump golden showers tape probably does exist. So the infamous Christopher Steele sat down with George Stephanopoulos and said, you know what, this, I don't care that it's being called fake, because I still think that it really happened. Now, NPR is actually talking about how proud they are that they were not going along with the rumors, and NPR is actually saying that the other media outlets will have some explaining to do because they so willingly participated in a lot of BS news reporting, which I'm actually surprised that NPR, National Public Radio, is actually that they didn't go along with some of this BS. I wanted to read a little bit from this article. So they said, here we go. There. Learning this app. Okay, so NPR talking in November of last year, after they learned that Igor Danchenko was charged as the key source for the dossier, Russian analyst Igor Danchenko, charged with lying. And now they said, NPR reports, we think of McClatchy, which is a media company, the owner of Miami Herald, the Kansas City Star, and other major metro newspapers that published the fake news about Trump-Russia dossier, major campaign material against Trump for 2016, yet he somehow still won. So NPR is saying we think of this whole newspaper company that published the BS about him, and they, to this day, have not retracted two separate stories claiming Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, met with Kremlin agents in Prague. He didn't. So NPR is actually calling out mainstream media, saying mainstream media willingly reported a lot of BS to the public and never retracted it. They also called out MSNBC and CNN, gave a ton of airtime to former intelligence officials that they hired as pundits who gave it credence, gave the lie about Trump-Russia credence. That's the big lie, guys. Well, NPR is writing here, bragging about themselves. Well, NPR stayed away from specifics because it couldn't verify them. So MSNBC, CNN, all the newspapers, NPR is putting them on blast for reporting BS. NPR also says that Trump did have questionable business dealings. Trump wanted help from the Russians against Hillary. Now, this is ridiculous. I should have prepared this soundbite from you guys that all the media talks about when they say that Trump officially asked Russia for help against Hillary. He was joking during a news press conference. If you watch the soundbite, you can tell that Trump was obviously being very sarcastic when he said that, oh yeah, we can't find Hillary's emails. Maybe the Russians can help find them. Ha ha ha. And the media just reports on it seriously. So even though NPR is bragging that we didn't report the fake news about Trump, they go on to say, well, we still hate Trump because we know he's bad because Trump wanted help from the Russians against Hillary Clinton. They said the Russians did interfere with the election and Trump denied it. So it is interesting. Then they say no one ever found any proof of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. So the golden shower stuff, this was a key part. Some of the information that Danchenko lied about. Okay, it was a key part of getting that FISA warrant that allowed FBI to spy on Trump, which is, Durham is trying to get to the bottom of how that happened based on a BS dossier. But the Durham report says that the government plans to prove in court that Danchenko lied about getting a call from the president of the Russian-American Chamber of Commerce about information that the Steele reports later described as demonstrating well-developed conspiracy of cooperation between the Trump campaign and Russian officials, including the fact that the Kremlin had been cultivating Trump for years. This is what the Steele dossier was saying. And they used that information. This Danchenko guy saying that he received a call from the Russian-American Chamber of Commerce, Durham is saying that call never happened, and he's going to prove it in court, and that the fake story about this call helped lead to the FISA warrant that allowed the FBI to spy on the phone calls and internet activity, phone activity, computer activity of a Trump advisor, therefore being able to spy on Trump. Why was the FBI spying on Trump leading up to the election against Hillary? And why was Hillary funding the report that the FBI used to spy on Trump? Okay. Interesting times, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it's already been about 20 minutes. Remember, I told you guys to keep these shows shorter now because I think more people want to see shorter videos. They want you to get through the news quicker. So that's what I'm trying to do for you guys. I'm just going to check your comments real quick. Thank you so much for tuning in. Scotty says FBI is a bunch of little whiny losers who think that they get their little slice of the pie of life, but they don't. Colin says this was insane. Not only was this frivolous, but it also allowed Putin to tie his geopolitics to U.S. American domestic politics. Oh, I think Putin loved being part of this made-up story. The left making Putin look all powerful and Trump buddy. Putin's like, maybe I am a Trump buddy. Scotty, spying on people and committing crimes is perverted and not a real job. You guys suck. Ivory, you rock. Thanks so much. John says, hit the thumbs up, please. Yes, please give a thumbs up, give a comment. It helps my algorithm. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so the next time I go live, you'll get alerted and you can join in with the live chat. With that being said, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.